Hey guys, in today's video we're going to talk about Rototoms. So Rototoms were originally invented by the company Remo, which makes the drum heads. Everybody probably knows that. And today I have 5 examples here out of the 7 sizes that they originally made. So I have, starting over here, a 6, 8, 10, and this is the set that almost everybody has. You can find them for like 75, 100 bucks on eBay a lot of the time. Then I also have a 12 and a 16. Now the original offering, there would have been a 14 that fit in here and an 18 down at the end, and I don't have those at the moment, which would be really cool if I did, but I have 5 out of the 7 sizes. Now according to official Remo, basically each drum has an effective range of about an octave and sort of an extended range of a little over an octave. I did some testing. That's sort of true depending on the drum. Maybe it depends on the head a lot, because these don't all have the same head on them. But around an octave is something you can get out of them. So with a set of just 5, I can cover basically an octave and a fifth. And if I had the full set, I'd be able to get a little bit more than that. And obviously if I had 12 of them, I could probably do easily a chromatic octave and play you any song in any key. And if I had another 6 after that, 18 or so of them, I'd probably be able to finagle an octave and a half and, and almost have like a keyboard instrument here. So why are they called Rototoms? Simply because they have a pitch, but when you rotate the rim of the drum, they're on a threaded stand, and it changes the pitch. Okay, so to tune a rototom, you simply twist it on its stand. So we'll start with this one. You can hear the pitch. If I were to twist it, it immediately goes down. I can make it go up. And I put it anywhere I want within about an octave. So if we play them all, it goes like this. So you can tune these to sort of any intervals that you want. Right now they're in some sort of roughly fourths, like concert or drum set toms, but you could also tune them a little bit more musically, like timpani. So here I've got them roughly tuned to like a major triad, but with 5 notes I can sort of do root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th. Which gives you a nice sort of full sound, happy-ish, as a major chord would. So with the massive range on each drum, it's actually possible to go from a wide sort of timpani, large interval type of arrangement to like a diatonic scale. So that's basically G to D and back, so within a fifth. So I can tune them basically an octave and a half or within a fifth, and it works because of the gigantic range. Let's just look at a rototom up a little closer. Basically, this is a typical rototom. It's got about 4 main parts. The first part is, of course, the central screw. It's just like a lag bolt. You could probably buy this at a hardware store or something very much like it. Now, it's threaded, and of course what essentially is the shell, the ring that is the shell of the drum, threads onto this. And so when you turn it, this of course is fixed to the stand. When you turn this, it goes up and down the threading. There's an inner part that is essentially the bearing edge, and this just sits on top of the screw. It's not threaded. So when you screw this in, it pushes up, and when you screw it out, it pulls it down, and that pushes on, of course, the batter head. And then it's got, of course, a counter hoop here with tension rods into the shell, right? And so like a timpani, you set these to where they're in tune with one another, and then you just change the tension of the screw on this bearing edge piece, and it changes the pitch of the drum. So pretty cool, pretty simple design. Now, they have made rototoms in the past where there actually was a shell that kind of clipped onto the outside. It wasn't really part of the mechanism at all. It was just a separate piece that would kind of give it a little bit more tone, because of course having no shell, it dies pretty quickly. And there's also a variant where this central rod would go all the way down to a pedal like a timpani, and you could change the pitch there. So what these are, they're really like a modified type of timpani. They are a really tiny, like bowl-less timpani that you can, in some cases, even change the pitch with a pedal like a timpani. So it's pretty cool, but they also are like a concert tom that you can tune on the fly. And so they're really a pretty cool, versatile, but also very weird piece of percussion equipment. One other thing I didn't mention about rototoms is that they actually make marching harnesses for them, and you can mount a set of 4 or 5 in like a tenor layout, but they're rototoms. So then you could change the pitch of them easily and you know, match the key of the song. So if you change keys between movements, the player could actually retune them if he wanted to. And they are less heavy than a typical tenor, I think, because there is no shell. And they're expensive to get the harness and the mounting brackets that you need, and so not a lot of people do it anymore. I've seen it done though, and it's like usually there are regular tenors and then there are rototom players, and it's like if you have just a ton of kids on drumline and you don't want to send anyone home, you can fake it. They call them sort of, they do now what are called flub tenors. Right, well this is one way to do a flub tenor where they have a ton of drums. It's just the rototoms. Anyway, weird thing, the rototoms. Now, as a drum set player, you'll see a lot of these in pictures from like the 70s and 80s, or maybe the 80s and early 90s. I don't know when they were invented, but you'll see a regular drum set and you have a few of these. Terry Bozzio actually had a drum kit where like the entire thing was rototoms except for like the kick, I think. And you could easily see how you put these 3 on the rack and these 2 as floors, or some setup you could go sort of the way that Mangini and Tempesta used to do, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, middle, right, left, or middle, left, right, whichever way you wanted to go, and do a drum set that way. Obviously, if you had the other 2 sizes, you could go hog wild. You can use them in place of timpani. The range actually goes pretty low, not to like the 32. If you just have a simple 2 timpani part, you can usually get close on these lower drums. So rototoms are pretty cool. They have a distinctively sort of high-pitched, shrill sound. There's a lot of attack even when you have them tuned low. But the danger is they actually don't cut as well as you'd think. You play them by themselves and they sound really like they're just going to blast through everything. You put them in a mix with other instruments and they disappear almost immediately. So, like Danny Carey from Tool occasionally, or maybe a lot of the time, uses maybe like these 2 as his rack toms, or maybe these 2, something like that. And they sound okay, but it just depends on the mix and how you're doing it. I've used them in a live situation with kids, and whoever's playing the rototoms just disappears as soon as other things are happening. So you kind of have to be careful with how loud you think they are versus how loud they actually are. But otherwise, they're pretty cool, and because you can get these tuning options, you could actually have a drum set out of these and tune to the key of the song you were in and retune for every song if you wanted to. Real easy, just, you know, driving the school bus, turning the wheels. Now, they do take some getting used to. They kind of have some weird overtones. They're hard to tune, but that's sort of the gist of rototoms. One other thing you could do with rototoms that's kind of cool is you can actually take the batter heads off, and there's a little ring, the sort of hoop underneath that actually provides the tension, goes up and down, has a really nice pitch to it. The reason they actually resonate without any type of a shell in here is because these circles that they're made out of, there's like the shell circle, there's the hoop circle, and then there's the counter hoop circle, and they all resonate pretty nicely. So what some people have done is they'll take those hoops off and put them on a cymbal stand, and they make a chime-like sound. And you can actually put 2 of them together on a hi-hat stand and ding it with your foot. It's kind of a weird option for rototoms, but they do kind of sound nice on the shells. They're very resonant, and if you take the heads off, they're even more resonant. So that's rototoms in a nutshell. They can be tuned to like an octave each, so a 3 or a 5 set has actually a huge, gigantic range. You can tune them like timpani, you can tune them like drum set toms, you can tune them like concert toms. They're really pretty cool, but you have to be careful because they don't cut as well as you might think. So at some point I might do a video where I set up a drum set with Rototoms instead of regular drum set toms. But if you have any Rototom related questions, let me know. That's a general overview of Rototoms.